What's up, TSP? Hey, it's Charles from HumbleMechanic.com answering your car-related questions. This one comes from Quinn. It says, hey, Jack and Charles, what are the pros and cons about CarMax? My wife and I are looking at getting a newer vehicle. Her family has used CarMax and swears by it. The concept sounds great with no hassle, but how much more am I paying for a no-hassle experience? Do I trust that they're actually doing what they say they're doing, or should I put out for a pre-purchase inspection? Thanks for the great work, Quinn. Quinn, awesome question. And it just so happens that your old pal Charles here used to work for CarMax, going on what is going to make me feel ultra old 20 years ago. It was my first job in the automotive industry, and I worked there as a sales consultant. Yes, this technician used to be a salesman. Let's talk a little bit about the buying experience and the process of doing business with CarMax. Now, when I worked there, again, 20 years ago, things may be a little bit different, but I think the concepts and the mentality is very much the same. CarMax has a very strict, very rigid process that the sales consultants and the customers go through. Sales consultant walks the customer through the whole buying experience. When I worked there, we even signed the paperwork with the customers. I understand now that that's not the case, and honestly, that's probably for the better. So the cars do get rehabbed or reconned, as they call it. They go through maintenance, they go through any minor repairs that are needed, they paint work, and things like that. So they did a pretty thorough job back when I worked there. Now, from where I'm at today, where I see CarMax sending Volkswagen the cars to get things like recalls done and warranty work done, they still do a pretty good job of recon overall. Now, there are cases, I almost guarantee there are cases that the car doesn't get looked over as thoroughly as it should, or the recon tech misses something, or it's got damage that you're not happy with, or insert whatever problem you could think of, it probably still happens today. So one of the really cool things, though, about buying a car from CarMax is you get a period of time where you can bring the car back. So if I were buying a car from CarMax today, I would pick out the car that I loved, I would buy it, I would then immediately take it to a technician or to my mechanic if I had my own, get it up in the air, and have it looked at, have it gone through top to bottom, left to right, have them make sure that they go through and see if the maintenance was done on the car. You should get a check sheet of all the things that were fixed on the car, or at least the maintenance that was done or the inspections that were done. Give them that list too and have them go back and recheck it. Have them make sure that a thorough inspection was done on the vehicle. So they're gonna tell you, you can't just take the car and get it to your mechanic. They're gonna tell you that's what the return period is for. And they're right, that is what it's for. It's for you to make sure that you like that car. So I still would pay the $100 or whatever for the pre-purchase inspection, if nothing else, for the peace of mind that CarMax did a really great job on reconning that car. But that actually starts before the recon period. They also have buyers on staff that will go, they'll inspect a car, let's say they're trading it in or purchasing it from a customer. They'll look at paint, they'll look at everything that they can reasonably look at in a 10 to 15 minute time frame. They'll drive it, make sure the check engine light's not on and things like that. So they'll take a pretty good look at the car before CarMax even purchases it. They also do things like Carfax and vehicle history reports to make sure that there isn't a certain percentage of damage, or back when I worked there, if there were like 2 panels in a row that needed paint work, and then you had to go into the third panel, like driver's front door, driver's rear door, and fender, and then you had to go to the hood, at some point they won't retail that car. They would either put it on the older car side or simply ship it to auction. CarMax sends a lot of cars, a ton of cars to auction. In fact, I got a slamming deal on my 97 Integra that way. It should have been priced at about 14 grand. I think I bought it for maybe $7,000 because it needed some paint work. That was the only thing wrong with it. Minor cosmetic stuff, and I saved $7,000 off buying a car while I was an employee. So they do a pretty thorough job of going through the car, making sure everything's cool to the best of their ability at the time. Problems can always arise down the road or while the car sits on the lot, but they do a pretty good job. As far as paying more or not. It really all depends. So you've eliminated the negotiation factor out, right? There is no negotiation. I lost sales because the guy wanted to save another $50 and you just couldn't do it. It was this price, that's it. The good side is, boy, doesn't that eliminate a lot of stress, a lot of nonsense, a lot of BS that you don't have to worry about. There's no back and forth with the sales manager. There's no back and forth with the finance. This is the price. Do you like the car or not? And it makes it so much easier. I still, to this day, don't understand why there's not more dealerships and more models of that. You don't need to hide pricing or give a little more for the trade so you can charge a little more for the car. All that to me is nonsense. It has made the car buying experience completely unpleasant for most people. I've worked in the industry for 20 years almost, and I still hate the dealership buying experience. It's not fun for me. I don't want to negotiate. I have better things to do with my time than work for 4 hours to save $50. Tell me how much it is. I'll decide if I want to buy it or not. And that's the vibe, and that's the mentality that you get at CarMax. You simply find the car you like, make sure it's good, and then buy it. The other great thing is you can go to one place and test drive 10 different cars of 10 different makes and models, get in and out of them. It's a great way to do research in real life instead of online. You know, when I started, the online car buying experience had just barely got there. We had moved one of the salespeople to the internet department. They created the internet department while I worked there. So that's how long ago that was. And how different today is, where you can do, you know, a decade worth of research on a car sitting on your couch. But to me, it doesn't replace the touch, the feel, the comfort of the seat, where the buttons are, what it feels like to me as a driver as compared to maybe you or Jack or my wife or anybody else. We all have different expectations and desires of what we want while we're in our vehicle, where things are comfortable for me, maybe awful for you. So it's a good place to sit in the cockpit of a bunch of cars and test them out. You may think you need to have a Jeep Grand Cherokee. You may sit in one and go, this sucks. I really want to buy this Honda Pilot or this Volkswagen Atlas, whatever cars you're looking at. You know, that is another great thing about CarMax too. I do believe, by and large, you will probably pay a little bit more for the car than if you found the exact vehicle at a dealership. Because there is no negotiation, they're going to price it a little bit higher, maybe not. But remember, CarMax deals on volume too. They're going to sell way more cars than the average dealership will per month, especially in the used car side. So they don't have to price them $2,000 more than the dealership. It may be $300. And at the end of it, especially if you finance, what's $300 over 5 years? It's not worth squabbling, in my opinion, to get $300 off if I could just go in, pick the car I want, and leave and have an enjoyable experience rather than being miserable and, no matter what, probably feeling like I got ripped off by the dealership got one over on me, or that kind of mentality. When you buy one with fixed pricing, you know the sales consultant's getting paid. He doesn't care what kind of car you're going to buy, so he's going to help you buy the right car for you instead of trying to push you towards a car that maybe the service manager or maybe the sales manager pumped an incentive on that month that may not be the right car for you, but it's the right car for their wallet. Regardless of how people feel about sales consultants, the good ones do bring a lot of value and should be compensated accordingly for that. So overall, I do think it's a good place to buy the car. I still would definitely get a pre-purchase inspection. And honestly, I would probably still buy the warranty from CarMax as well. The company that underwrites the warranties that CarMax sells is the best warranty company to deal with, hands down, from a customer standpoint and from a service shop standpoint. So if you bring your car in and you have this CarMax warranty, the warranty company covers the most. It's the least hassle to deal with. I've had them provide rental cars for customers and on and on and on. So I highly recommend, if you don't have like $4,000 in the bank set aside specifically for car repairs and you have an opportunity to buy an extended warranty, buy it. It's gonna pay for itself in 1 or 2, 3 repairs, and then you win. And if you trade the car in, a lot of times you can cancel it and get a prorated refund back. So I hope this didn't feel like a CarMax commercial, because it's really not. You know, buy the car in whatever manner that you feel comfortable buying it in. But my experience overall with working at CarMax And then now, as a technician standpoint, working with customers that have purchased from CarMax is definitely more positive than it is negative. There are always chances that the car you're going to buy sucks, or there's a problem with it that they didn't catch and you didn't catch and your mechanic didn't catch, or something down the road just simply breaks, and that is what it is. But do a really thorough inspection on the car. If you see any cosmetic damage, point it out before you buy it. Take it to your mechanic, get the pre-purchase inspection, and rock and roll from there, man. I think it's a great idea. I wish more places moved to that model, because the whole song and dance of staying till 9:30 to save $50 may be worth it to some people. It's not worth it to me. My time is more valuable than that. I want to get a good deal. I want everybody to win, and I want, most importantly, a reliable car that I enjoy driving. So Quinn, great question. I hope that helps you and anybody else maybe considering buying from CarMax or a place similar to that does have fixed pricing. Guys, thanks so much for having me part of the Expert Council. It's great that I can finally give back to a community that has helped me out so much. So Jack, TSP, thank you guys so much and have a great weekend.